Guys, it's round number 8 of Super Bad Chess Classic Romania 2025, and I've been talking a lot about Gukesh's struggles in recent videos, and right now I want to show you a beautiful game he played against Levon Aronian with black pieces in round number 8. So once again, as we saw in some of the previous games, he goes e5 on the first move, plays the most solid setup against e4. He doesn't go for Sicilian, but I'm not sure, for me it's probably what he's trying to do is I can imagine that he is right now already potentially prepping new openings for the World Chess Championship match that he's going to play, let's say in 2026, I believe. Would it be? I guess so. And he doesn't want to really show them right now to people he's playing against. That's why he's trying to test maybe e5. Because he can play c5, he can play any opening, but yes, I remember he played e5 on multiple occasions. I have to analyze his games in the World Chess Championship match itself against Dean, and I have to look at his other classical games he played during, let's say, last year, because I think that he's playing this pretty much every single game, so I'm like, okay, is it some... There is definitely some work going behind the scenes which we're not aware about, but yeah, I mean, he plays different setups every single game. So bishop a4, knight f6, castle, bishop e7, bishop c6 takes, now rook goes to e1, protecting the pawn on e4. Queen d6, protecting on e5, pawn goes to d4, and now bishop g4, pinning the knight. So the idea is that after d takes e5, queen d1, rook d1, we can take on e4, and white's pawn structure is pretty much ruined. We're threatening to take. If bishop f3, I can go knight c5, going knight e6 next, knight b2, knight e6. Black have two bishops, slight advantage. That's a dream position to have. So knight bd2, and now queen d4, immediately telling d1, let's go to the endgame. Knight d4, bishop d1, and now knight takes on c6 first. Not rook d1, because then it takes d4, black goes c5, and have a solid center, extra pawn, but knight c6, taking the pawn back, bishop c2, knight e7 takes, and black are still a pawn up. b3, bishop d3, bishop a3 check, king a6, rook goes to c1, attacking the pawn e7, rook ac8, f4. It takes f4, and now e5, knight g4. So knight d5 was a lot stronger. I believe, because let's after knight f3, which was played in the game as well, bishop g6, and now let's say knight d4, king goes to d7, and I guess it's because that's pretty much what happened in the game, but there is a huge difference. Rook c e8, knight g7, and then rook e3, and the knight is not getting out shortly, because yeah, it's kind of trapped. g6. Yeah, I can see why it might be better. While e5, knight g4, knight f3, h6 was played, knight d4, king d5, e6. Now, white sacrificed this knight on d4, so the idea is bishop b2, we pretty much get transpose to this rook cd1, then knight f3. Knight f3 would have been played anyway, so now this, and this position is around equal. e6, knight f3, now black seriously want to capture, e takes f7, trying to potentially promote, king d4. And now black's position is completely winning. Bishop b2, king d5, now bishop takes g7. Yes, the only thing is white will have rook for two pieces, but as we know, that's actually favorable for black pieces. Pawn goes to c5, sacrificing the rook. Brilliant move. Rook d1. So why not take? Because right now actually what happens is, let's say king f4, there is rook e1, and bishop in, let's say king goes to f5, there is takes, and rook goes to e8, and white actually wins. So here black have to play rook f8, and the position slowly gets to a drawing case here. Not this way, but let's say h4, rook f7 takes, and the position is pretty much draw. So that wasn't played. Rook d1, king f4, protecting the bishop, rook d2, rook f8, trying to take the pawn on f7, takes it, a4, bishop f1, trying to take on g2, and bishop f1 looks so tough, so cold card, it's so cold. Rook c8, bishop g2, rook e8. Now king goes to f5, and Levon finally decides to go for this capture. Takes, and now let's take a look at the endgame. Black are up a pawn, they have f past pawn. Would they be able to win? Let's see. Rook goes to c7, rook tries to go somewhere to c3, c2, and take more pawns. Rook f6, rook c6, protecting everything here. Rook f7, rook b6, attacking pawn on b3. Rook e7, king f5, now king goes to e4, repeated moves. Now king g5, h4, trying to make sure if king h4, then rook f4, king goes to g4 instead. Rook g7, king h4, king f3, now takes, h5, a5, king h3, and white admitted their loss. I mean, that's probably the best game of the tournament for Gukesh. He finally managed to win the tournament. I think he's no longer on the last place. And as you're watching this video, they're probably playing their last round of this tournament. Yes, Prague is first. Prague actually won the game of round number 8 against Wesley So with black pieces. So if he plays against Levon, so if he makes a draw, he most likely will win the tournament. Fabi 4.5, Maxim 4.5, Alireza 4.5, then we have Bogdan Daniel Dek and Nadirbek. Then we have Wesley So 3.5, Levon Aronian 3.5, Gukesh Damaraju 3.5, who plays Fabi. And then young Zhishtav Duda is last with 3 points. He plays Maxim Shelgraf in the last round. Yeah, you know, I'm looking at all these jams and like their level is just different. You know, they're level 27, 20, man. And I feel so terrible about myself. Like I'm like, I know a lot, but I'm so terrible compared to these guys. And imagine being lost in the tournament. Young Zhishtav Duda, he's 27-39. He's 3 points. He lost only 2 games out of 8, which is not bad, but he hasn't won. So I guess, wait, pretty much everybody won. Yeah, everybody won at least 1 game except for Young Zhishtav Duda. Would the last game against Maxim be the case? Because I think Young Zhishtav Duda, oh, he's playing with black. That would be tough. But let's see what happens in the last round. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next videos. Bye-bye.